Alright guys, this is the submitted assignment from April 24th that you guys handed in and were not able to see your answers to. So I am going to work through each problem so that you get a better understanding of what exactly is going on. The first question says to factor completely, which is going to give you a hint right away that this might be factored more than once. So you need to pay close attention to that. When you have the opportunity to factor something more than once, you always need to first check for a GCF. And we had talked about that many times while we were still in school, and I know I had noted it while you guys were doing some of your work from home. That is the first thing you should always check for. So when you look at all three terms, 4x to the third, 12x squared, and a 40x, you should notice that your GCF is a 4x. And then you always put a parentheses after you factor out a GCF. The second thing you're going to want to do is check to see if what is left over can be factored again. What I mean by that is when we factor this 4x out, it leaves me with an x squared minus 3x minus 10. So this is what's left over. And when you look at that, this is one of those standard trinomials. You'll see down here in number 2, and it's also in 3, and then in number 4 as well. This was one of the, I had told you guys this in class, that this is the most common method of factoring, where we looked for factors of 10 that add to give you a 3, and specifically in this example, factors of a negative 10 that add to give you a negative 3. Hopefully you recognize that as a negative 5 and a positive 2. And then just don't forget, when you write your final answer, we were factoring completely, you can't forget about that GCF. Stick that in front. Final, only possible answer. This is the best solution. Would have had a 4x, in parentheses x minus 5, in parentheses x plus 2. And you get to numbers 2 and 3. Number 2 and 3 are the same. Number 2 and 3 was something that you would have learned completely on your own at home. We had not talked about it in class. And in case this very much confused you, just going over these, you would want to factor first and then cancel second. But you can only cancel factors. So the very first thing you have to do is you need to factor those. So both the numerator and the denominator are standard trinomials. So I will factor the top as x plus 5, x minus 3. The denominator factors as x plus 4 and an x plus 5. So I did my factoring. Now I need to check if I should cancel any common factors. Well, you notice that the x plus 5 and the x plus 5 are common factors. That would leave you with your final answer of x minus 3 over x plus 4. Perhaps this is one thing that wasn't explained well. When you look at this, the x over the x looks like something you would want to cancel, but this x is a term. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs. These over here are being multiplied together. Because they're being multiplied, that makes them factors. They can be canceled. These cannot, and therefore your final answer would be x minus 3 over x plus 4. Number 3, same idea. We have to factor first. Top factors as x plus 7 times x plus 1. One of those standard trinomials. The denominator, something we had talked about only at home. It's a difference of perfect squares. You notice that because the minus sign stands for difference in math. X squared is a perfect square. 49 is a perfect square. So that factors as x plus 7, x minus 7, because 7 is the square root of 49, and x is the square root of x squared. Again, cancel common factors, leaves you with x plus 1 over x minus 7, which is as simplified as it gets. Which, that's going to take us to the last question, number 4. It says when the expression x squared minus 3x minus 18 is factored completely. So again, we're going to have to check multiple methods of factoring here. Which of the following is one of the factors? So the first thing you should do is check for a GCF. Well, when you check your 3 terms here, GCF is actually only a 1, and by writing it like this doesn't really get you anywhere. So now I need to think of other methods of factoring. Well, if it has 3 terms, this looks like what we saw in number 3, what we saw in number 2, and number 1. It is one of those standard trinomials. This factors as x minus 6, x plus 3. Which, now you look over here, which one of these matches with one of those 2 factors? Would have been letter C, x minus 6. Still, if this doesn't make any sense, you got to make sure you reach out to me. Make sure all this week, I'm hoping you're starting to catch on to the pattern. Check your answer keys, ask me questions, do the work that's in Schoology, and then on Friday, you're going to have another assignment to be submitted. I'll go over this the following Monday morning, and we're going to keep following this pattern so long as it continues to work. Thanks for tuning in.